Stephen Cloobeck, take our hand, lead us to the promised land. California, California, get a clue. Stephen Cloobeck is the guy for you. Stand a chair, this is your cue. Stephen Cloobeck will pull.
Hi, welcome to the latest edition of Stephen J. Cloobeck, my podcast. And I have, again, with me today, another very, very dear friend. And on all of the shows so far, we've had dear friends of mine come on. We've known each other for a long time. It's one of my oldest friends. And I'm privileged to have Frank Luntz here today. Thanks, Frank, for coming.
So you just said Jay. Your middle name is Jay. I don't know if you know this, but I asked Donald Trump, because his middle name is Jay. What does the J in Donald J. Trump stands for? You know what he told me?
What?
Genius.
I don't get it. I get it. Well, that says everything about him.
Let the record show that the camera guy behind there was trying not to be heard as he was laughing.
It's kind of true. We both know him. We both know him. We've had experiences with DJT, as he loves to be called. An interesting fella.
Yes, in both good and bad ways, significant ways. I've been having conversations with candidates like you, Republicans and Democrats, about where America's going. And he's clearly probably has the greatest impact of any individual right now in terms of who we are as a country, who we are as a people. And I know that this podcast, you're going to ask me questions, but I'm going to ask you to start this off, since this is genuine and authentic and random.
It is.
You think he's having a positive or negative force on America?
I think he's getting America to realize and analyze who America really is and what America should become. I think it's a defining moment. And, you know, look, Frank, you and I have known each other, God, almost 30 years. And we started off in doing business together. No, we started off doing a project in Las Vegas, potentially. And then we ended up doing business together, a project for the community at the time, because I was the chairman of the Strip in Las Vegas. And we became fast friends, and you learned my business, which you knew nothing of. And we learned from each other. But the more I've been with you, I've listened to all your great experiences and embracing why words matter. I mean, in one of your most prolific books, Words That Work, I learned a lot. And I've learned so much from you in the way I listen to people and really understanding the customer. And I've learned now, even today, that I'm now involved in politics, much more so on the front-facing side, not behind the scenes, how words matter and how they're impactful. And more importantly, you taught me in the customer business and the hospitality business, always listen to my customer and deliver what they're looking for, equal or better. Now, today, going back to our president, DJT, Donald J. Trump, for a guy that is all about P.T. Barnum, which I've got some of that in me too. I mean, all of us that are in the hospitality business, we're marketers. Mr. Wynn, Steve Wynn is a great example of that, and others.
I do want to point out also, and I'm going to do this as we go through this, there's a level of candor that you just demonstrated, I should say, which you did not do when we first met 29 years ago.
I'm more secure with myself today because of my success and the things you've taught me. No, you've taught me a lot. And you've taught me to lean into who I really am. And I've been now said I'm unapologetically authentic all the time, but I've warmth and compassion, which I embrace. I lean into that because I am. And I'm not afraid of that. And I lead with integrity. And what I see in our president, Donald J. Trump, he has no integrity. He has no morals. And I think he's bankrupting America of its integrity and morals.
So if I can, and you know that I've been critical of him in the past, but I was doing an interview yesterday with the Times of London, and I realized just how successful he has been policy-wise. You look at the British government, which is where the Times publishes, and they have a tremendous majority, and they've succeeded in almost nothing. You look at Donald Trump. He said he was going to change Medicaid. He's done it. He said he was going to rein in wasteful spending. He's done it. He said he was going to lower taxes. He's done it.
I don't like the way he has done it.
And that's where you and I agree. And the language that he uses. So how are you able, in a state like California, that's clearly one of the worst performing states, beautiful weather, wonderful beaches.
Everyone's paying a toll to live here.
And how are you going to be able to do this without using the language that the president uses?
By listening to the customers of California and delivering to them equal or greater value and delivering performance and results with warmth and compassion.
Is that going to be enough?
It's going to be enough when you couple it with growing the great exports of this state that not have been grown properly, and letting people know California is open for business. So I've said the following, that we collectively together, I'm a we person, I'm a unifier. I don't like to resist. I don't want to even throw stones when people say, well, the Republicans could do a better job because the Democrats suck, or the stone throwing. I'm trying to rise above that and go to the next hybrid higher level where we can have difficult discussions, hard truth discussions that, as you told me, the people want to and desire to have and need to have, and show them results. And to do it, that's in a true self-serving, in not a self-serving way like the president is, but in a form of service where you roll up your sleeves and you do the work. You're not doing it for the title or the money or the power. You're doing it because you're having a good time doing it, and you like to see happy faces that aspire to greatness. So when I grew up in California, people had an opportunity to do whatever they wanted to do, and I did. And I want to bring that back.
So listen, you've had an amazing company. You've had a tremendously successful business career. But, and this is a big but, we've seen some business people come into politics and they've been unable to perform. This is a big state with every problem known to America is happening right here. Many of them started right here. Aren't you intimidated by that?
Well, Frank, you've been with me long enough to know if I was going to get intimidated, you saw it happen. If it could have happened when I bought the most broken company in the hospitality space that nobody could fix for 20 years, coupled with the financial collapse of the world in 08 and 09, you went through that with me. They were taking my company. Everyone was coming for everybody. We were bankrupt, but I didn't believe we were bankrupt. I just kept my head down. You watched it happen.
Well, I was actually in New York when it was happening.
You're with me.
And it's one story that you don't tell, and I don't understand why you don't tell it, which is sitting down with these bank leaders in the room. And I'm going to turn it over to you again to tell it. But to me, of all the business experiences I've seen, and I have no problem on this podcast challenging you, but I've never seen anything like this. They came for you that day. Can you describe what happened?
Oh,
because you don't, and I don't understand why.
well, you tell it the way you saw it.
That they came for you each day saying, your company's now ours. Your balance sheet doesn't work. You're going to fail. And you never let them do it. You kept pushing and pushing, and they would close the day by saying, okay, tomorrow we're taking your company. And then you come back the next day, and they say, look, it doesn't work. We now own you. Sign over this stuff. And you said no. And day after day, you push them and push them and push them. And you and your leaders, in the end, they decided they're not going to take your company, that you running it is better than them taking it. And through sheer perseverance and unwillingness to give in, you won.
Well, and I bring that to California, and I'll tell you this, Frank, I'm not terrified. I'm not afraid. I'm ready to take the keys tomorrow. I am ready. I could tonight debate each and every candidate tonight. I need no prep. I've done the homework. I've done the due diligence as I've done with my company. And I will never give up. And I will fight the fight. And I won't let anyone take it away from us until we win. And I'll work countless hours. And I'll roll up my sleeves and sweep the floor if I have to. Because I build teams. I fix the most broken. And I deliver a great experience to my customers.
And this is what California's looking for. I know this from the research I've done. You have the attributes. How do Californians know you have the brains to do this?
Well, how do I have the brains? Because I've done the research compared to the other candidates. I've signed the front of a check. They've not.
Go with that. Go with that.
Yeah.
What have you done that they haven't? What is your experience that they don't have? How can I say only Stephen J. Cloobeck can fill in the blank?
I have created teams from this ground up. I have fixed teams that have been broken where the others have not. They have leadership qualities that have teams collapse on them all the time. I can go through each candidate if you want because I've met them all. They've never signed the front of a check. I don't know one person that is running for office that signed the front of a check that's made payroll or that has come out of their pocket for payroll or that signed personally on debt.
And why does that matter?
Because that matters because it's not my money, it's the people's money, and they all think it's their money. They're not stewards of other people's money. They've never been stewards of other people's money. The question's this, to the customers of California, who do you want in charge of your checkbook? Who do you want watching your bank account?
That's good.
Who do you want watching your bank account out of every single candidate? Who do you want watching your bank account? Do you want somebody who's proven, that's gone through tough times, that's come out of their pocket for payroll, that's signed the front of a check, that's created tens of thousands of jobs, that also will protect and fight for you and will never give up? You show me any other candidate that has done those things. Oh, and there's a bonus. That's also created laws to benefit society for corporate and social profit. That's also been a regulator that understands the other side. That's had indictment power. That's also been a judge. It's been a good father. That's raised great children.
Yes, he has.
That's sent his kids to public and private school as he went to also. That's grown up in California with California values. That was given the dream of California and was promised a contract. And the contract was delivered, and today the contract's not being delivered.
Okay, you raised the phrase California values. What does that mean?
California values are very unique. I mean, as I built my company around the world and as I was educated in Southern California, we grow up with a vibe. We grow up with innovation and anything can be done and the greatest weather on planet Earth. And the greatest geography on planet Earth, we have it all in California and all of our 58 counties.
And why are so many people leaving? Why are so many businesses leaving?
So many businesses are leaving and people are leaving because the contract of the American dream is exacerbated in California because you cannot afford an apartment or have the opportunity to buy a home. You have government getting in your way of the way you want to live. You have government getting in the way of educating your children. You have government getting in the way of you operating your business. And it becomes to such a point where you go, the weather's great, but the contract's not fulfilled. I'm not getting equal or greater value to what I'm paying in. But that can be changed and improved.
Are people hearing this from you? Are they getting this message?
Well, this is the message that we are letting people know of, and it's about letting them know what I've done. And do they want the definition of insanity, the same old, or they had enough? Howard Beale, are you mad as hell? Where you can't take it anymore?
I love that.
One of the greatest lines ever. Network, Howard Beale. And, you know, I will always fight. Frank, you know me so well. When I told you about this, I was terrified of even telling you and Mike Milken. You were the two folks I'm like, oh, shit, how am I going to tell them I'm thinking of doing this? After I interviewed every candidate. Because you guys were going to shit all over me. Going, what are you doing? Now, we know you've done crazy. We know you've done very difficult, Stephen. because you've watched it.
So tell listeners what you've learned from this process.
I have learned that Californians are hurting. The customer of California is not getting what they bargained for. The contract has not been fulfilled by government. Government has become too cumbersome. There are too many regulations. And don't call me a Republican. I'm a Democrat. I've gone up as a Democrat my whole life, a conservative Democrat. But the Democrats I grew up with that have mentored me understand how to balance a budget, know how to deliver equal or greater value. Bill Clinton 101, balanced budget, and got rid of 400,000 jobs at the federal level. It was called reinventing government. So don't tell me I can't be who I am. I am a Democrat. And you know what? I've done really well in my life, and I'm leaning into it because I worked really hard. And I am proud that I succeeded. And I want everyone else to succeed, to whatever their aspiration is.
So why this conversation is so interesting for me is that this is a journey for you, and you're only at the beginning phase of that journey.
100%.
And it's always great to put into the can that someone can go back and look at this 10 years from now. A journey like this begins with the first step, and you've taken the first step and the second and the third, but you're still only at the beginning. It's going to change as you move forward. Do you feel different now than you did 6 months ago?
I feel much more confident. I feel as if I could take the keys tomorrow. I have learned enough now where I know, compared to the other candidates that are running, I am more qualified and capable of taking the keys tomorrow. Where I'm still terrified if any one of the other candidates get elected.
Because?
I fear for the benefit of my children and their future and how much worse it could really get. Because right now, the hole needs to be plugged, and we need to fix the problems within California.
Okay, then I'm going to do it in a way that normally people don't do, which is I'm going to give you examples of people, and I want you to explain why you're the right person at the right time to do the job well. I'm an 18-year-old, just graduated from high school, preparing to go to college. I'm an adult. For the first time, I can cast a vote, and I have no savings. I have a lot of dreams and no way to make them happen. Why should I pay more attention to Stephen J. Cloobeck?
Because I'm going to ask you this question as I just had a very similar conversation with a gentleman that was working for the summer. And he said, should I go to secondary school, law or business school? And I said, I don't know. Let's find out what you'd like to do in life, because there's two ways of learning. There's academic learning or in the street on the job learning. Where are you going to get the best return for your time and the amount of money you are going to have to borrow or get from your parents, or figure out how you're going to finance it through financial aid? What are you going to do? Let's talk about that. What's the return on investment? So I would say to the 18-year-old, do you really need to go to college? What would you like to do in life? Because college is not a requirement to be successful in life. Do you have people around that can teach you what you'd like to do? Is there a better way, more efficient way of you becoming who you'd like to become? What do you want to achieve in life? Where do you want to live? Do you want to own a home? You want to travel the world? What are your goals? How do I help you achieve your goals?
Okay, that's great. Because you're doing it from their perspective rather than your perspective.
My perspective does not make a difference, Franklin. I've learned this in this campaign, no different than me handling any of my customers in the hospitality business. I am there to deliver memories for them on that holiday they have that is irreplaceable in their life, and I cannot muck it up. The same thing is true with every single customer in California. I need to know what their dreams, desires, and goals are, and make sure government is off their back so I have their back, and deliver to them what their aspirations are. And listen.
Let's make it more difficult. 72-year-old, widow. She can't go back to work. She's retired.
Yep.
She's living on a fixed income, and her challenge is that she wants to stay in her home, and it's becoming so expensive to maintain it with property taxes and the like. What do you offer this 72-year-old so she can spend her remaining years in a place that she knows, in a life that she's become accustomed to, when all around her, everything's going to hell?
We got to make sure she's safe first. We got to make sure she keep her lights on. We got to make sure she's got heat and air conditioning, and she's got food, and she's around those that love her. Okay? Got to figure it out. Solve for the issue. Each issue is it's bespoke. And I've learned that in my journey talking to people all over California. It's not one size fits all. We're a country in California. We're not a state. We've been operating as a state. When I grew up here, we were the bully pulpit of the United States. And as California's innovation and manufacturing went, California had the best education in the United States, Frank. We're the 50th today.
Who do you blame for that?
Oh, who do I blame for that? All of us. All of us in California who elected these folks over the last couple of decades.
Well, there's some people who try to bring about change. So can you really blame everyone? And I truly do not know the answer to this.
I'm trying to give you a very, very agnostic answer here after talking to everyone, because everyone wants to throw stones, and I'm above that now. No more stones. No more yelling and screaming. There are issues. There are hard truths that need to be told, and there are issues.
Okay, then let's focus on that. The word is enough. All caps.
Basta.
Exclamation
Enough.
point. And I'm going to ask you about the Latino population in a moment. How would you fill in that blank? Enough, blank. Enough. What are the three things that you would end? And we all hear about all the stuff you want to do. What would you stop?
Enough of the lack of execution, enough of the lack of accountability, and enough of the lack of enforcement. Have some responsibility, have some respect for everyone, and show results. There you go.
And why can you do that and nobody else can?
Well, I've done it. They haven't. They've talked about it. They've been legislators. And if they did such a good job, why haven't they gotten better jobs in life? Why are they career politicians that have only signed the back of a check? Why? Why have they been tone deaf to the customers of California? I call it no IQ, no EQ. You know, they each have uniqueness. Why can they not keep staffs? Why are they bouncing around from consultancy to consultancy, looking for another job? They've never signed a personal guarantee.
You don't think much of professional politicians, do you?
No, because they've changed over the last decade and a half. I used to revere politicians as I grew up. Lieberman, Clinton,
Joe Lieberman,
Reed,
Harry Reid,
Bro,
John Bro,
Dodd,
Chris Dodd,
Kennedy.
Ted Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, John Kennedy. You got to give the full names, but go ahead.
I know I've been involved so long that it's just the last name to me. But usually it's, more on the senator, president, ambassador.
So let's take it now, 8 years from now, as the next set of people are coming up. What do you want Californians to think of their state?
I want to know that they feel the following. You elect the next governor of this state, a person that can educate the future leaders. A good governor of this state should be able to teach and educate through their experiences, which none of these folks have. What are they going to teach the Assembly and the Senate?
Are you angry at this moment?
No, I'm excited. I'm so excited. I'm not angry at all. I want the next leader of this state, which I know I could be. I came to this revelation. If I'm a good governor, which I know I can be, I know I can fix the balance sheet, the income statement, deliver performance and results. I can respect the customers of California because I've done it. I know that I can execute because I fixed the most broken. I'm highly accountable because I paid back all my bankers and investors and they've done very well. No other candidate can say that. And I've been a judge. I've enforced the law and lived by the law. I don't believe in stealing. zero, not $950. But I'm truly a great leader, governor. I will have created leadership that goes well beyond my term.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
You've been very active in something I care about a lot, which is West Point.
Yeah.
And you've made the dreams of some West Point cadets come true with the Sea to Shining Sea Foundation and your support for it.
So but what people need to know, that Frank and I have done a project together. He's the professor, and they're called Cloobeck Scholars at West Point. And how many cadets do we have in the program?
There are 28 in the program. 10 of them went to the Middle East, 12 of them went to Europe, and 10 of them went to Discover America. We just finished that trip last week. But there's a cadet code, and I want to make a suggestion to you, which is, knowing your support of the West Point Military Academy, the idea of adopting the West Point Code for the California government. A cadet cannot lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate anyone who does.
I love it, Frank, because I live that, because I have a saying, integrity is the only thing I got with my brand. We can talk about brand in a minute and how the president of the United States ruined the brand of the United States. He's allegedly a branding guy. I don't think so. But I don't know, you blow the best brand in the world. I know how. Be trained by Roy Cohn. Lie, deny, lie, deny, lie, deny. He loves to be served. Integrity is so important, Frank. And look, you don't lie, cheat, and steal. You don't do it. That's my brand. Okay? And I have a saying, don't bust the trust. You bust my trust, you're done. You're not coming back. And you got to take care of people. You got to serve, not be served. And these cadets are serving. I serve. That's what I love the most about this new gig I got. First of all, I need a job. But I'm begging, please, I'm really good at this. I'm begging, give me a job. I like serving. I have fun. But these cadets, I have never been philanthropically involved because I've been doing philanthropy for decades. This is probably the greatest gig you and I got, working together with these cadets. Because I have sat with these cadets numerous times, and I watch you interact with them, and you have never been happy in your life. I have watched you. Because we talked about doing some other things that kind of didn't work out, and that was kind of weird, but we ended up in the right place. Because you always do. Sometimes it takes a little longer. You got to be patient. And we were both patient. And it happened. And you ended up in the best possible place. I've never seen you happier. I've never been happier as a philanthropist. And every time I meet with the cadets, Frank, I'm inspired. There is hope in America. Because that is the future. And you know what? It makes me work harder and want to become the next governor of California and serve because I watch these cadets.
But is that, to be blunt and direct, is that California? Because I've been to USC, and that's not USC. That's not UCLA. That's not Stanford right now. That there's too much among the next generation who believes in performance, who believes in how you say what you say rather than how you do what you do. And it's frightening to me because these young people have learned how to look good in front of each other, but they haven't learned how to do good for society. Am I too harsh?
Well, I don't know. It sounds like Gavin Newsom to me.
Because?
He looks good. He's pretty. Has he done good?
You tell me.
Well, you tell me. You want to have an open discussion? I don't know. We wouldn't be having this discussion. I would not be running for office if he did such a great job. I would not be running for office unless the people I interviewed did such a good job. I am so unintended to do this, Frank. It was not on my bucket list. If the state of California was in a better position than it is today, I would not be doing this job. I would not be interviewing for this job. I would not be involved in trying to help change the system for my kids' future and their friends. I would not be going really deep and put myself out there, because I am way out there now. Bash me as you wish. I'm doing it for the good of my children and their friends, to make sure you don't just look good, Frank. Show results. So, you know me. I'm going to sit in the back of the theater and clap for my team so they get a trophy, and I'll take the incoming shots. Okay, I'll take all the shit. And I'm good with it because I've done it. You've seen that at all my resorts. My team was built on me taking the incoming shots and then getting the trophies. I'm not up for the trophy. The problem is everyone wants to look good. So go to the leadership of this state. And I know I love you, Gavin. You're a great guy. You're a really good human. Okay, you are. I love you. But you always want to look good. And you've done such a great job of recent listening to some of the things we've talked about and I've said. And you found your set of balls. I like that. And you're now fighting instead of resisting. And you're willing to listen to the other side, which I now admire because I like to unify. I'm always a unifier. So look, everyone, that's okay. Everyone grows differently. We all have journeys. I've just, realized you don't always have to look good. You got to show the results, and you always don't need the goddamn trophy.
Okay, so let's look at the issue that matters the most right here in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
The fires.
Let's talk about that.
How would you have done it differently?
Well, I'm critical of all sides right now on the fires because I see the failures, and I've rolled up my sleeves from day one, Frank. I wasn't on the news. I was taught you don't politicize a disaster. You roll up your sleeves and get in the field and help. And that's all I did. You didn't see me on TV. Some others that went on TV, they like to talk a lot. Created charities. What have they done? They're not holding people accountable. They've taken people's money. They've created charities. They've gotten a lot of airtime. Where are the results? And by the way, they're SC folks. Ha! I love SC. I went to SC 1 year, but then I went on to Brandeis. Okay? Where we were judged on results. SC's pretty.
So what would you do? What would you do?
I would hold the count. The city and the county of Los Angeles have failed the customers of Los Angeles. And they're still failing the customers of Los Angeles. They're talking a lot. No results. I don't see permits being pulled. I still see lots that have debris on them. There was a reservoir in Altadena that was not fixed that Sean Penn and I got fixed in 5 days. It's not done. Only because the county couldn't do it. We just did it. No trophy for me, other than the fact that when I go back to Altadena, Pasadena, which I did last week, I haven't forgotten about the people. And until the last house is rebuilt and the last school is rebuilt and the last business that's not opened is opened, you can't stop. It's not just a TV moment. Where's all the fire aid money, Frank? Allegedly $100 million raised. And you go to the promoters of the fire aid, and they say, oh, yeah, we gave it to this foundation. You know who you are. And they say, oh, yeah, we gave it to 20 other foundations. And they all say they kind of pushed and kicked the can, Frank. But let me tell you something. I talked to a group of folks that are part of 120 people in the Palisades. They haven't seen one dime. That sucks. And you know what? They've given up hope. And I talked to them over the weekend. I said, don't you give up hope. They want you to give up hope. The insurance companies want you to give up hope and to accept 63 cents on the dollar. No, you get what you bargained for because you have a contract. And I'd like to see more of these leaders on both sides, D and R, do the right thing and show results.
Is anyone doing it?
No.
No one.
No, it's a shit show all the way around. I'm calling bullshit on everybody. Equal opportunity. Equal opportunity. So they're looking for their trophy instead of rolling up their sleeves and just doing the goddamn work. Be selfless and do the work. Show people value. Show people the results. You told me one thing right here, right now. I didn't really think about it. That I want to look good instead of showing results. And that's the difference at West Point. Pretty impactful.
It changes the way I think, changes the way I behave, causes me to call people out in ways that I would not have done. I get your frustration.
Oh, it's my passion, not my frustration, Frank. It's my passion because I don't need to do it. I want to do it because I want to be the Papa Bear and the fighter for my kids.
Okay, if I'm Karen Bass, Mayor Karen Bass, and I'm sitting in this chair right now, what do you say to me?
You're a failure.
You're going to be that strong, that outspoken. You'd say to her, you're a failure.
100%. You have failed, Mayor Bass. You get an F. You tell untruths.
By the way, just for the record, the camera guy's been on his phone for most of the interview. He's not on his phone right now. He's got kind of a smile on his face as he's listening to you. Why is no one saying that?
Because they don't have brass balls, Frank. Because they're compromised. I'm not compromised. I don't need this job. I need a job. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm just trying to push the ball forward. And I think, and I don't think, I know I'm the right person for the job. Because I will fight. And I'm passionate and I'm doing it selflessly. Because I want everyone to have a smile on their face and to live in the California that I grew up in.
So I'm going to ask you a question that I ask every candidate, and that I believe is the reason why Vice President Harris did not defeat Donald Trump. Because she never answered this question. She had days, weeks, months. She said she didn't have enough time. I actually think she had too much time. When she entered the race, she erased the deficit with Joe Biden. When she did her debate with Donald Trump, she won, clearly, and she went ahead of him. But she never told people what she would do in the very first hour as president, in the very first day, in the very first week, very first month, and very first year. How would you answer that question as governor? You can pick any one of those. What's done first?
I'll be transparent.
How?
I will tell you everything I plan on doing and give you a report card on our progress. I will be a good steward of your money. I will immediately ask you what impedes you from doing good business in California and try to eliminate those obstacles.
I'm going to push you on this.
Please.
But what would you do? I'm not asking you how you would do it. I'm asking you what you would do.
Well, I would do the following. I would make sure that all the first responders have plenty of money to do the job they need to do to provide life safety in this state tip to tail. Because life safety is what we pay for the most. Are we safe? Second, I would clean up the streets of our homeless crisis and use the Supreme Court action that was granted. And if the cities and counties aren't willing to do it, I'm going to do it at the state level and backcharge them. Those are two things day one. I'm going to provide life safety and clean up the streets. And then I'm going to work on everything else to make sure everyone can aspire in California. I'm going to ask the customers of California, what impedes you from doing good business? Tell me. Let me try to fix every one of those situations. The most important first for the greatest majority of us, and work through that list and show you the report card. And in addition to that, show up with performance and results in California, the California Department of Performance and Results, known as CPR. Resuscitate us and be able to show the savings. Look at the reporting that we do. Make sure we become digital because we're still analog in the greatest country in the world. Use our resources efficiently and grow our great exports. Become the greatest educational system in the United States once again. It's all easy to do, but you got to execute. You got to be accountable. And when I know, just like our federal government, as you heard, you found out the Treasury Department's just like sending checks out. We're based on an invoice. Where's the backup? Where's the two-party signatures on the backup? Well, that's how I created Brand USA, Frank, at the federal level, and those standard operating procedures are still in place today. Because I set it up. Because I have been that executive. And I've fixed broken. and no other candidate is fixed broken.
Okay. I accept that. Tell me why you can't get it done. Tell me something about you that would others may say that explain the full picture, that give us the full picture of who you are and what you're about.
Why I couldn't get the job done?
Yes. What is your concern? What is your weakness? Everyone has one. Nobody talks about it. You say, this is authentic.
I'm going to tell you what my weakness is. That I don't give myself enough downtime to take care of myself. I'll run too hard and I get, burnt after a period of time. But it takes me like a day to recharge. So I'm used to working in 24 time zones, Frank. 365 days a year, 24/7. Now I'm working one time zone. It's pretty easy. So I'm kind of trained when it comes to that. And, I'm going to push myself real hard because I'm having the most fun I've ever had in my life. And as this process has continued, I've hit the wall because I'm pushing so hard. I'm going to push myself so hard, I'm going to hit the wall. So I got to make sure I always take care of my health. So I have to have people around me to take care of my health. You want to get into that one, Frank?
No, I do not.
Okay, good.
You call me early enough. I'm on the East Coast. You're on the West Coast. You're still calling me at 6:45 a.m.
I got up at 5:30 because I'm just so happy. I'm used to working. I love working hard. So you asked me what I'm going to outwork everyone. The question is, I'm going to end up hitting the wall every now and again, a little downtime. So don't expect me to be 365, 24/7 like I used to be when I was in my late 40s. I could do that. I'm making phone calls 3, 4 in the morning around the world, talking to customers. But I'm going to need a little downtime. I'm 63, but I can keep up with the best of them, Frank. I'm burning out the 36-year-olds. I got to have 2 teams now on my campaign.
Well, the other thing I saw in you that really impressed me, stay with me forever, is how you placed your owners, your customers, as you say.
Yeah, my customers.
Above everything. Whatever they said to you, they were right. If the food wasn't hot enough, then it wasn't. If the room wasn't ready, then it wasn't. If they wanted a newspaper, you got it for them. Everything they asked of you, and I never saw this in hospitality, and as you know, and the listeners and viewers would not, I've worked for many of these companies.
Yes, you did.
Nobody was as committed to the satisfaction of the customer like you were.
I'm committed. We created the meaning of yes. You remember that, the meaning of yes? And
why don't you talk about that more?
With the meaning of yes, because I actually sold the mark to Hilton. They own it today. But I can talk about it.
So what? You created it.
I know I created it. But the meaning of yes, I talk about that. The customer's always right. Okay? Unless they're rude to one of my team members. And then they're not right. Then they got to go apologize because I won't stand for, non-civil behavior, calling one of my team members something irreverent. I will protect my team. But if my team makes a mistake, I'm the person who took the hit. I had a housekeeper that made a mistake in Mexico in one of my hotels. And I called the guest in the room and apologized. And the guest went, well, why are you apologizing? It was the housekeeper in Mexico. And I said, yeah, I apologize. And they go, well, no, it was the housekeeper. I go, I am the housekeeper. I'm every job. I become governor of the state of California. I'm every job in California. I'm every job. I'm your DMV clerk behind the counter.
I'm not sure you want to be that.
No, I have no problem being that, Frank, because when you're the true leader of a state, you are every single job.
Yes, but that is the most hated person.
No, it shouldn't be. It should be it should be the necktie of who we are. Hospitality, Frank. So the services in California should be customer friendly. Elect a leader that's been in the hospitality business. All the services will become hospitality oriented. I mean, elect somebody who's used to doing every job or has done every job. So I have no problem putting my business card at every front desk in my hotel business, Frank, with my live email and live cell number. I'll do that in California. Tell me what's going on. I'll talk to you. I'll pick up the phone. Because I love people. I've noticed, too, that all the politicians I've run into, which I'm not one of, they don't like people. They actually hate people. The politicians hate people, and they have thin skin. You would think the political business is knock down, drag out, which it is. But they are a bunch of wimps. You just poke them like that, and they start crying. They couldn't last a day in business. That's why I just find it fascinating. Because when I grew up in politics, when you and I grew up younger, they were tough. They were stoic. They were assassins. Smart. Today, they're weak. Compromised. They pander. They tell you what you want to hear, not deliver what you need. They'll tell you something, but, they forget about you after they leave the conversation. I will never forget about my customers. And that's what's different. So look, like I said, I'm going to work really, really hard for everybody and have a good time doing it and create great leaders for the future. I want to ask you a question because I ask, all my guests this. Friends, not guests. You're not a guest, you're a friend. If there's one person on planet Earth, you're very well read and you know people all over the world. And you have people that have passed away in your life. People you read about in history. If you could have one day with somebody who's passed away, one day on planet Earth. Somebody asked me this question a long time ago. I don't know if it's ever been asked of you. It's funny because a lot of my friends, we've never had this chat. And we're friends. We've spent a lot of time together, you and I. If there's one day on planet Earth that you could have with somebody who's passed away, Socrates, Plato, George Washington, I don't know. Who would you want to spend a whole day with?
I'm going to give you two answers.
No, I don't want two answers. I want one answer.
There's two answers.
Why are there two answers? I just
because one of them is for my intellectual, and the other one's for my heart.
Okay, fair enough.
And it'll be very hard to get through this. The intellectual is Ben Franklin.
Ben Franklin.
The actual father of our country, literally.
Yeah.
He had a very active social life, much more active than Bill Clinton ever could have dreamed of.
How about mine?
And we're saying I'm Ben Franklin. We're not going back to you. And he was so good at everything.
Joking.
He was so good at everything that he did.
Yeah.
He was brilliant. He's a brilliant philosopher. He's a brilliant scientist. He was a brilliant teacher. He was a brilliant writer. Everything about him. And he understood life and living. And he celebrated freedom and opportunity. And to be able to spend a day with him would be brilliant.
What question would you ask of him?
What would you do seeing America today versus what you expected? What would you have done differently in 1787 so that the impact on America, maybe we could have avoided 1860. Maybe we could have avoided 1929. What would you have done differently then, knowing what we've become today? But if you put Ben Franklin and the other individual, I'd probably choose the other individual, which is my dad.
Oh my God, tell me about your dad. Because you and I really haven't talked about this. Talk to me about your dad.
It's hard because...
No, I want to know.
He gave me everything that I am. My mom was the disciplinarian.
Right.
She gave me persistence and intensity. But my dad gave me joy and happiness. Mm-hmm. He just wanted to be around his son. He didn't care. I could be covered in mud. I could give my mom a diamond and she would say, "What are you doing? Put that money back in the bank and don't spend it." I give my dad a rock and it'd be the best rock he ever had. I could do no wrong with him.
When did your dad die?
When I was 30. And what was sad about 31 is that he never really saw what I became. He got a few pieces of it. He saw maybe a year of it, but he would have enjoyed it so much. He would have moved to West Point. He gave me the love of the military. You respect these people. If someone's in uniform, you step aside. If someone's in uniform and you're in a nice seat on a plane, you give them your seat because they've given you their freedom, your freedom. And you say thank you to them. And you treat them with respect and dignity. and you always say thank you. That was so much a part of him. And I would love, damn it.
It's okay. You know what?
I would love him to see what I'm doing at West Point.
Yeah.
Because
What do you think he'd be the most? What would if you just like lose it when he saw it?
he'd move. He'd say to
Yeah.
my mom,
Would you let him come to class every day with you?
Yeah. Because one of the coolest moments for me
Yeah.
was the first time I taught.
Yeah.
It was 1989 at American University. I was 26, 27. And he comes into my office. And I sit in the front of the desk. I tell him to sit behind it. He says, "What are you doing?" "That's your seat. Go sit there." And I said, I don't want to. "That's your seat."
Yeah.
He said, "No. You sit there."
Yeah.
And he was so happy.
Yeah.
It's just such a great joy for me.
Yeah. Would you let him teach one of your classes?
Of course.
What do you think he'd talk about?
He would talk about dental identification. He would talk about shit that I have, sorry for the language, but I have no interest in whatsoever. And he would make it interesting.
He was a dentist.
He was a dentist. He was a conversationalist.
Yeah.
He would sit down at the piano and the hands would just go and everyone would gather. He had no voice, but he would sing. He had no professional training, but he could play the piano. He was just everyone's great friend. And I realized this only a year ago, and you don't know this, but I realized that my father was perfect. Actually perfect. As a husband, he loved his wife so much, and there's nothing that he wouldn't do for her. As a father, he loved his kids so much that he would gladly sacrifice. The story that I tell to explain this is coming to California, and I'm coming here to spend Christmas, and I forgot which car company I rented my car from. This is before Uber and Lyft and all this. And there are 31 car companies in LA. And he started to call each one to figure out. And my mother said, let him have no car. Let him get stuck. Let him take a cab. He's irresponsible. And my father said, yeah, whatever. And then went quietly to the bedroom, and he had to call. He got it within the sixth try. It was Alamo. But the fact that he would...
Was there bail your ass out?
Yes, and he wanted to.
Yeah.
I say to people...
He loved you.
That if I'd gone to West Point, which I didn't because I couldn't, and on day one I would have tried to quit, and my mother would have said, "You're not leaving anywhere. I don't raise quitters." On day two, I would have tried to quit. My father would have tried to come get me, but she would have taken the keys away from him. On a day three, I would have walked out and walked to New York City. I couldn't do it. My father, this would be his heaven. This is the field of dreams for him, is West Point. And I try not to think about it because it makes me sad that he's not there to experience it. But I do know that if he was here, he'd be so happy.
Well, you met my dad.
A lot.
I know. You know how close I was to my dad. You know, when he died, almost killed me. Saw that too. It was traumatic.
It's important for you to show that to people.
It was traumatic. I did. When I was with Cory Booker on the first show, I was crying. He asked me the question. And people have seen it. It was Cory Booker and me, and we were both crying. Because it was our parents. It was like, talk about my dad, and I just lose it.
It's amazing how impactful they are, both good and bad. That the best things in us, that some parents do so much damage, and other parents do so much good. And I'd not be sitting here talking to you. I never would have worked for you. I never would have done any of this if it wasn't for her perseverance and his celebration of life. And I'm a little bit of each.
Well, we are the product of who raises us and who teaches us. I mean, people say to me, you know, when younger, they're like, you just sound like, you know, Steve Wynn. I'm like, no, I'm my own person. I'm different. I'm Steven. And others have said, you're a better version of him. And others have said, well, you sound like Harry Reid, or, you sound like the business of Mike Milken. And I say, yeah, I'm the product of them. I'm proud of that. I am Stephen. I'm Stephen J. Cloobeck. I'm my own person. You are your own person, but we are the product, and I am proud that I'm a product of the people that have taught me. And I've learned to take the good part of what I want to choose to go forward with, and I've tried to see some of their failings and not choose to do that. We're the product of that. So we should be proud of it.
So what I do wish that in the debates, because I always ask people what they will do, I want to know what they won't do. I want to know what line they draw, where they say, I'll be unpopular.
I'm never going to lie to you, Frank.
That's easy.
No, that's not easy, because you got to prove that you've never done it. Okay? You got to prove that you give people their money back if you made a mistake. You got to go on record saying you made a mistake.
That's harder.
And I've done that, but I've already done it. If you ask me, how do I know? Well, I can point to when I've done it, and the others can't. So I'm comfortable and confident. I'm having the best time, Frank. You've watched this. I mean, you said at the beginning, you got like a chance in hell doing this, along with buying Sunterra and changing the name of an airport and creating the tourism department of the United States. Yeah, everyone said you have a chance in hell, Cloobeck, but I fight. I have fun doing it. I don't know, and everything's gotten done. So the journey continues.
I will tell you, I'm glad to be a part of that journey. And I appreciate what you bring to California. I think we have too much focus on partisanship and not enough on decency.
Well,
civility.
you know that I prescribe to all those things, and I walk the talk. And you said to me something really, really impactful a couple months ago. You said to me, you've grown so much in this journey that you've watched me go on in this gubernatorial journey. And you said, you know what? You're really making huge strides. You've improved. You could be ready soon. And I take that seriously. That's a big compliment coming from you.
Well, listeners won't know that I don't give compliments.
You don't. And I was like, damn, he just gave me a compliment. He didn't beat the crap out of me, which he normally does, and I take it all the time. I fight with you sometimes. But I mean, I just thought that was such a huge compliment. And Mike Milken, too. Mike goes like, oh, my God, you're ready. You're ready to become governor. I don't know. I guess something happens when you go through these journeys. I've heard this when even Clinton was running for president, when he was governor and was aspiring to become president. People saw a difference in him where something changed. You become more attentive or more accepting of the role and acting differently. I think you'll find that true when somebody hits that pivot point, or they the top of the mountain and they start to go down the other side.
I know that from the two strokes. I know that from where I am in life, and that's very true. I also know that the average individual does not want to spend more than 55 minutes on a podcast. So my guess is that we're very close to that right now.
Well, we could talk forever, and I appreciate you coming today. So you can always find us, Stephen J. Cloobeck podcast on iHeartRadio or your other affiliates. Frank, thank you again. As always, I am grateful, honored to call you a friend and somebody who I respect.
And I thank you for giving me a question that will now become part of my repertoire.
Oh, it's clip farming.
It's really good.
That's clip farming. Thanks, guys.
California.